Hello everyone and welcome back to Almost There, a twisted tale novel here on Disney Magic Zack. This is chapter 51. Let's get into it. The Kingdom of Maldonia, 3 months later. Naveen could not hold back his smile as the car travelled along the tree-lined street leading up to the grandiose entrance of the Grand Palace of Maldonia. The white marble dome atop the massive 200-room royal residence sparkled like a newly harvested pearl. After a 3-week journey aboard a passenger ship and more than a year in America, the sight of his family's home brought more joy than he had anticipated. The car rounded the reflection pool and fountain, coming to a stop before the 20-foot gold-plated doors. "Ah, it's good to be home," Naveen said. He looked around at the other occupants in the car, who all sat in stunned silence. "What is wrong?" he asked. "What is this place?" Lisette asked, her eyes wide with wonder as she stared out of the car's window. Naveen shrugged. "It is home." "This makes Big Daddy's house look like a shoebox," Charlotte said. "I can't believe you grew up living in a place like this," Tiana said. She looked over at him. Then again, "Yes, I can." Naveen threw his head back and guffawed at the car's ceiling. This looks like a place with real tasty food," Louis said. "That it is," Naveen laughed again. "Come on, let us go in. I'm sure my family is eager to see us, and if I know my mother, she has instructed the cooks to lay out a feast for the ages. They were greeted by the king and queen the moment they walked into the palace. Naveen was staggered by the rush of emotion that hit him the minute he saw their faces. Formalities were brushed aside as he wrapped his mother and father in a hug. "I've missed you," he said. His younger siblings flooded the grand entrance, embracing him like a prodigal son returning, which, he guessed, he was. As Naveen predicted, his parents had ordered a grand celebration to mark their son's return home, temporary though it was. He informed them before he boarded the ship that he had chosen to make New Orleans his permanent home. At Lisette's insistence, Naveen took their guests on a tour of the palace, including a drive around the 100-acre estate. By the time they returned, more than 50 of his closest friends and family had arrived for the celebration. Naveen felt conspicuous, dressed in his traditional royal regalia, but one look at Tiana's face when he walked in the grand ballroom changed his mind. Following dinner, he immediately escorted her to the dance floor, where they waltzed until his father finally cut in. Now Naveen stood at the periphery of the dance floor, leaning against one of the marble columns and observing the guests enjoying themselves. His mother came up to him and patted his arm with her gloved hand. "How are you, son?" she asked. "I'm well, mother," Naveen answered. "You look well. And you look happy." She glanced over at Tiana, who studied the traditional Maldonia folk dance his younger sisters were trying to teach her. Does she have something to do with that?" "She does," Naveen answered, unable to suppress the grin that drew across his lips. "I am in love with her, mother. She is my everything." She arched a regal brow. "Now I understand why you turned down our invitation to return." She tipped her head to the side. "Should I expect a wedding and grandchildren soon?" "Mother!" Naveen felt himself blush. "You cannot fault me for asking." She looked over at Tiana again. "There will be lovely grandchildren." Her eyes lit up with excitement. "It'll be fun to spoil them." "Please do not speak of such things with Tiana," Naveen said. "We've only been together a few months. I have not brought up the subject of marriage." "What are you waiting for? Get on with it." He chuckled. "I will, soon." Then he sobered. "You know, mother, there are other reasons that I've chosen to remain in America. None more important than Tiana, of course." "Of course," she said. "But I like the person that I've become over this past year. I learned that I'm really good at selling things and helping others," he said with a laugh. "See Lisette over there? I just helped her broker a deal to sell her homemade medicinals in the biggest department store in New Orleans. I like my job. It feels good to know that I can make my own way in this world and do some good in it too." Naveen shook his head. I never thought I would say this, but I would want to thank you and Father for cutting me off. It turns out that is exactly what I needed." His mother cupped his cheek. "I'm proud of you, son. I always knew you could accomplish anything once you discovered your heart's true desire." "Well, at least I hope that will be the case," she amended with a laugh. "Just know there is always a place for you here. You can always come home." Naveen caught sight of a sparkling blue dress out of the corner of his eye. He looked over and saw Tiana walking towards them. "I have found my home," Naveen said. "Oh, yes." His mother patted his cheek. "My grandchildren will be lovely." She nodded and smiled at Tiana before drifting off to mingle with the other guests. Naveen took Tiana by the hand and walked her out to the balcony that overlooked the extensive ornamental gardens below. "So, are you enjoying your first night in the royal palace?" Naveen asked. "What do you think?" She returned, into sass in her voice. "Well, I would hope you are, but I can also understand if it's a bit too much. My sisters can be a handful." "They are lovely, and so are your parents. And that adorable little brother of yours. I think he has a crush on Lottie. Naveen laughed. He is a charmer, that one. I wonder where he gets that from. She winked at him, then walked over to the marble balustrade and leant against it. Looking up at the sky, she said, Doesn't it amaze you that these stars we're staring at here in Maldonia are the same stars they're looking back at New Orleans? It really puts things into perspective when you think about it. It does, Naveen said. It tells me no matter where I am, I can be connected to home if I just look up at the stars. And what a lovely home it is, Tiana said. He shrugged. It's okay. Okay, do you want my honest opinion? Of course. Always. I can't believe you would choose to live in that dusty little apartment in New Orleans when you could live here. It's not the apartment that's keeping me in New Orleans, Naveen said. She turned to him, her smile demure, though there was a twinkle in her eye. Is that so? What else is that could even compare to this? Come now, Tiana, Naveen said, taking her by her hands. The moon shone down on them, illuminating her beautiful face. I don't have to tell you that I would give up all the money in the world to be with you. Would you really? She asked. In a heartbeat, Naveen said. He leant forward until his forehead met hers, staring into her eyes. He said, There is nothing I would not do for you. She regarded him with a devilish grin. I'm going to remind you of that when I make you wash dishes at the new restaurant. Naveen frowned. Did I say there was nothing I wouldn't do? That's right, Tiana said, and it's too late to take it back. Then she claimed his lip in a sweet, tender kiss. I can't wait to see you at that new restaurant in action. Your palace, Naveen said when they broke apart. Tiana grinned slowly. Tiana's palace. I like the sound of that.